Hello students and welcome back to our Analyzing English video series. In this 15th video, we're going to take a look at visualizing the English language in terms of proficiency by country. We have a really cool map here that I want to dive into and discuss what exactly does it mean to have native or very high, moderate, low, very low proficiency. And it's a very cool map. I have to give credit here. It's from Amazing Maps. I saw it on social media. Please check them out. But the source here is from EF, or English First, English Proficiency Index 2023. And why, you may be asking, why am I doing this video? Well, I want to just tell you that not all of us are kind of have the same access to English language education. Sometimes growing up, there are differences in the quality of education, and that's fine. But what I want to point out is that there's always room for improvement. Sometimes you have access to English learning in your school or in your university, but that's not often the case. But what I love about this map is it tells you not only where the native speaking English countries are, where it's the primary language, but also those countries that are very strong in a language and have it in schools or universities almost like a second nature. And there are certain countries, I'm not going to go through all 180 countries, there's not that many that, every country has people that speak English to a little bit of an extent, but this just ranks the proficiency from native to very high, to moderate, to low, to very low. Maybe you see your country on there, maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. What I want to focus on is just basically, look at your country, think about, is English important in your country? Why do you think it's important for you to develop English proficiency? And I just want to include a little bit of knowledge in terms of those countries where it is the native language. The United States, here, it's a native language, right? Canada, it's a native language, as well as French, in terms of the official languages. Australia here, it's the native language or first language or primary language. Then we have New Zealand, and then of course you have the UK or United Kingdom, the island nation of Ireland as well. And these nations, as you may notice, they play an important role in the world, each of them in different ways, and they're spread out. So English is a global language. When you think about the locations in the world where there's a high proficiency, very high proficiency or native proficiency in English, these countries are very influential in the world. English is an influential language, such as Spanish as well, Mandarin Chinese, Portuguese, French, of course, even Japanese. There are many influential languages, but English, you can basically learn it across the time zones. At English from A to Z, we have teachers from around the English-speaking world, including South Africa, where it's an official language, very high proficiency rate. But we cover different time zones with our teachers, and English from Los Angeles, California, all the way to Sydney is spoken. And you have a wide range of time zones. You have New York, London, Dublin, major world capitals here. I forgot to mention Toronto or Montreal. But a lot of English-speaking cities where, economies tend to be, bigger, there's more opportunities. You kind of need the language to get by, at least in terms of maybe trade or business or other professional services. Now, there are countries where there's a lower or moderate level of English, but you may need that. You may not need English. It's not a native language. Many of these countries, it's not a native or first or second or even third language, but you may need it. You may need it because English is the global lingua franca. I say this because in terms of diplomacy, in terms of business, in terms of communication between different countries, you sometimes need English. Maybe that'll change in the future, but you see that there's a wide swath of the world where there's at least a low, moderate, or even high level of English. From Europe to the Middle East, even to East and South Asia, to Latin America, there's some level of English where people speak the language. And if you're from one of these countries and you're watching this, maybe you know what your proficiency is. If you're low or very low, or maybe you're moderate and you want to get better, I encourage you to work with our teachers from these native speaking countries or very high proficiency countries, where they can help you learn English with private lessons, group classes, and online courses at our website. And I'll plug us again, plug our website, www.englishfromatozee.com. We'd love to have you on board, but I love this map because it shows that in every corner of the world, there's at least some level of English being spoken by a little bit of the population, or maybe a majority of the population, or a wide swath of the population. When you consider that Argentina has a high level of English, which is very far from the US or Canada, you also have countries such as, let's say, the Philippines, closer to Australia, but still very far away, that has a high level of English. And then, Kenya, Nigeria and Kenya, very far away from the UK and Ireland, but still with a high level of English in terms of the ranking here. Not too far from South Africa. But it just shows you the global impact of English for those countries where it's encouraged to speak it, even if it's not the primary or native language, from Argentina to Nigeria to Kenya to the Philippines. And there's a bunch of other countries, including the Scandinavian countries and the Baltic countries up here, and Eastern, Central, and Western Europe. There's at least a moderate, high, or even very high level of English. That's really impressive. And I forgot to mention tourism as well. Tourism is huge for English learners to be using it for their job, or for tourists to be understood. You sometimes need English instead of using your native language primarily. So I just wanted to show you, one, how global the English language is, how many people speak it around the world, across the continents, and the wide swath of countries where it's a native language, or where there's a very high proficiency across the globe. I count 1, 2, where 1, 2, 3, 4 continents where English is either spoken at a very high proficiency or at a native proficiency. So North America, Europe, Australia, and I would argue Africa too, given South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya, which are very important countries in Africa, clearly. So it just shows you the importance of learning English, whether it's for business, for work, for school, or for your own personal interest. And at English from A to Z, we're here to help you succeed in the English language. So I want to give a shout out again to both English First for this cool map. I just saw it today, and I wanted to do a video about it in our Analyzing English video series. So check them out. EF, English First, they're a great organization, great company as well. English Proficiency, I'll give them a shout out because this is not easy to put together. This is from 2023, so just over a year or so ago this was created. And a shout out to Amazing Maps. I'd like to give them credit. I'm a fan of theirs, amazingmaps.shop, to give them their due credit. Hopefully they're all right with me showing you the map, but I found it on social media, so I want to share it with all our followers and subscribers. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to our English from A to Z YouTube channel. Thank you all again so much for watching. I'll see you again soon for another Analyzing English video. Take care now. Bye-bye.